This happened almost 20 years ago and I'm over it, but thought I'd post to see your opinions and similar experiences. I never had what you would call a healthy marriage to my first wife, and there were a lot of red flags I overlooked in the beginning because I had no real experience dealing with older women. I was 23 at the time and she was 28. To keep it short, I signed up to join the military after 9/11. I knew we were going to war and knew I was getting deployed. I did my basic at Knox and got stationed at Fort Riley KS. My wife and I argued a lot at this point because she wanted to move, and I reminded her that it's not up to me where we go, I'm Uncle Sam's property till my tour is over. Needless to say, shortly after being stationed at Riley, orders came down that we would be deploying to Iraq. For as much as we argued, we had sex many times over the next few weeks. It was almost like when we first met, so I obviously didn't think anything was wrong. Fast forward to deployment day and we're both a mess, I'm sure you can imagine. I'll spare you the boring details of the flight over because it's really not much to tell. We hit ground in Kuwait and I was across attached to 2 to 34 armor, big boy shit, lol. We were tasked with securing various locations for rebuild and reuse, can't give more details than that. I was deployed for 3 months before we had a post set up enough to receive mail and make calls home from a sat phone. The first few times I called I got no answer and mail started to flow for everyone but me. Care packages from family members came once a week, and every week I waited for a letter or something from back home, and every week nothing came, no phone calls were answered. It got to a point where other soldiers started donating things to me because I had nothing but standard TA-50. 9 months in and still no letters, packages, or phone calls from my wife, and at this point I was mentally not in a good place. Where I was at was a very bad place, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm told I need to take leave and go home, not knowing why I'm sent home only to come home to an empty house. When I say empty, I mean completely empty to include my clothes. Later I find out through my neighbors that she had moved some dude into my house for 4 months and the rumor was she was pregnant. It gets better, she stopped making my car payments and it was repoed, cleaned out the bank accounts and run up the credit cards buying new household items for her new place. She would camp out at the ATM and wait for my pay to hit my account and withdraw all the money except some change. I would have tried that, but the nearest ATM was 5 to 7 miles away and I had no car and it was the dead of winter in KS. Let me tell you. Washing your cloths in the sink and drying them on the railing on the step every day because you don't have a washing machine or a dryer wasn't fun. I also had to beg for MREs from supply because I had no money to eat. She made sure of that. I saw her for about 10 minutes before out processing from the military. At that time she decided to let me know she was having twins and obviously they weren't mine. And JAG doesn't give two shits about the soldier, just the spouse, and even though she cheated she was still entitled to my check. Which she was taking. We're obviously divorced and I left it a good bit of the other shit she did because if I'd put it all in this would be a novel. If you want to know, drop a comment and I'll post that later. Here is the second story. All the cliché things happened. Hotel rooms, lying, lack of sex, etc. She cheated on me with someone I had considered a friend about 2 months ago. To my knowledge, and her hopeful honesty, it was twice with him and flirting with another guy. She wanted to break up and after talking it out she couldn't believe I wasn't yelling and freaking out. I cry but stay mostly calm. I had sensed something had been off for the past few months. Apparently this response changed her mind because she was expecting a fight. She now seems absolutely remorseful and I really do believe that she loves me and wants to make this work. I'm conflicted in what I should do. I really do love her and imagined a life with her. She has opened up to me and told me every detail, messaged this guy telling him to back away and she's not into him anymore, offered to show me texts, have daily check-ins, etc. Here's the thing though, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to have to check in on her, or not trust her, or act like a parental figure. I want to be her partner, best friend, and lover. We have even talked about being open/poly before. Turns out she wanted that so she could ease her guilt. So now I'm scared to try something I genuinely was interested in. We tried having sex and I just couldn't move. I was frozen and she did all the work. I was paralyzed and touching her didn't feel the same, it felt so wrong. Can it work? Can it get better? Can she ever be trusted again? Obviously there is no right answer, but hopefully sharing will help me. Thanks everyone. TLDR, long-term GF cheated on me, we want to make it work still honestly, but even touching her right now makes me freeze in place and my mind go blank. Edit, wow, a lot of responses and all leaning towards one way. It seems I have a lot of self-worth I need to find. Thanks everyone. Here is the third story. After some time, my ex would sleep with his phone in his pocket. Weird red flag, but I never said anything. When I noticed he wouldn't even pull up his phone in front of me, I knew something was up. One night it slipped out of his sweats and I woke up with it near my legs. I was just going to put it on the charger honestly, but I saw he had a bunch of notifications and messages from a dating app. Man, I wanted to slap him awake. But I didn't. So I created a profile using a friend of mine's pictures, that he never met, and I had her approval. She was his type 100% and I knew he loved blue eyes. So when we matched like I knew we would, we got to chatting. We talked for about a week before I suggested meeting up. Flirting, sexual stuff. He told her, me, that he was single and lived with a friend. So I suggested him paying for a hotel room so we could FCK. He said he would. We picked a spot. Mind you, I paid for everything because he was unemployed after losing his job. He drained my savings account over the year with manipulation. We're family, we take care of each other when we're in tough spots, he would say whenever I told him I didn't have extra money. I paid my student loans, all bills of a one-bedroom, and the food. This boy had the ballsack to ask me for money in person. That his mom's b-day was coming up and he wanted to buy her something nice. So I gave him $50. Just because it was hilarious at this point. I still think about the smile on his face in that moment. That weekend he left. Said he was going to his mom's and that he'd probably stay the night. I kissed him goodbye and told him to have a great time. Then I packed all of his stuff and left it outside. I live in a US city, so it went fast. Got the locks changed. He messaged me a few times on the app. I told him I was running late because I wanted to look perfect, but I was coming and so sorry. My friend also sent me some sexy pictures to send him that didn't fully include her face. She's a real one. I even talked him into jerking off and sending me a video. Then after making him sit until about 1 a.m., I messaged him on the dating app a picture of his belongings being rummaged through by a homeless man. And to enjoy his stay in a hotel. As soon as my phone rang, I blocked his number and went to bed. He was outside of my door the Monday I came home from work. Ugly, crying. Begging. Telling me he was homeless and had nowhere to go. When I wasn't having it, he got angry per usual. Once he started grabbing and trying to get into my apartment, I called the police. Filed a restraining order because he did threaten my life, and my pets. For putting him out. Found out he ended up moving a few hours away where his only family is, and has a job.